So this is the Arbor Coda camber. I wanted to say the Arbor Coda camber, but I did it in the last outtake. But it's a it's a board that's been in their line for a long time, and I'm not really sure. It doesn't seem like it's had many changes, but you never know. There's always little subtle tweaks here and there. And this is the 62, but really the 56 fits my specs, especially my boot size, better. I could probably even do the 59, but this 162, it was a little too much for my specs and how I ride. But you can see it's just basically a directional twin. I think the tail's stiffer than the nose, but that's about it. And then you can see this kind of like grip tech stuff going on here. You can see that just like right here and right here, there's a little bump. And then you can see it here again. You can kind of see the writing. It says grip tech, and you can see this little bump. And it's just right over the middle of each binding to kind of give you a little bit of something different going on there. And then you throw this down and you can see the camber profile. It's got a lot of camber going on, but there is a unique thing with Arbor boards, their system camber. They just call it system camber, but it's basically a hybrid camber or mostly camber ride that has this camber feel underfoot. But then there's just like, it's really hard to see, but just shortly after the bindings, it kind of lifts out and goes like that and then comes back in. I think they call it fender uprise technology. And it's very hard to see on camera, but I can see it here. It just goes bloop. And so it's really mostly about being a camber board without catching like camber. It doesn't really provide like hybrid camber additional float per se. Maybe a little bit, but nothing like a board that's just kind of lifted where the uprise starts, here. So it takes a little getting used to, but it's not that bad. Like the first couple times you load the edge on like an ollie or something, sometimes it feels like it's a little loose here. But overall it's good, and the grip is great thanks to the system camber. So it's all about personal preference, but you still have that camber at the tip and tail that gives you a little more pop. And laying this out on a turn, I didn't really notice much difference between this and a camber board, and I have with many other Arbor system cambers. So let's get back in to stance width here. I'm going minimum on this big ass 162. This is just for bigger boys. You're looking at just about 18 1/4, and getting all the way out, you're looking at just a little before 24 1/2. Now, we're gonna do a little bit here. We're gonna talk about the minimum and maximum areas here on the board. Whoa, just cramped up. 26, about 26.7, maybe 26.8 wide. But then if we go out kind of over the grip tech here and try it here, you're looking at closer to 26.8 or 26.9. And then let's see, over the last insert you're looking at about just about 26. So there is definitely a big bump there, and I think it's about the same. It's even wider than the furthest up top there, so that's kind of cool. It definitely helps a bigger boot fit on here. Then you're looking at about 25.9, yeah, and then kind of over the grip tech you're looking at about 26.5, maybe 26.6, and then back over the back one you're looking at about 26.7. So there's more width with this grip tech, and they always talk about that. They say that you can get a bigger boot on these because of this extension. And so if you're kind of set up in the general middle area, you're definitely going to get, you know, a lot more underfoot. Now, setting it all the way back, I did some measurements, and I believe it is 21.25 if you set it all the way back. I love that they have, forgot to talk about this in the beginning, but I love that they have 2, 4, 6, 7 inserts, so they add an extra insert in here. So even though it's a twin, setting it all the way back at 21.25, you get some extra setback here. And so the setback on board with this Camber ride is 3.5 inches, which is a lot like a lot of all-mountain boards. So, you know, this to me feels more all-mountain freestyle, but it definitely has a setback more on the all-mountain side, and that's kind of cool. And then you're looking at, so that's the difference between here and here. You know, when you're set all the way back, you're looking at 3.5 inches difference between the nose and tail. Then the actual setback on board from center is 1.75 inches, and that's not that bad for a board like this. The only problem though is it's mostly camber, so it's still kind of a cartwheeler. It definitely helps setting all the way back. But if you want powder, you probably want the rocker board. You know, if you want more like a powder oriented, more powder friendly twin, directional twin that you can set back a little bit, that's probably better call. This is more the carver, more of the mountain friendly board for carving and, you know, groomer days where you hit in the park and the mountain and everything, like, you know, all over. But there you have it. The Arbor Coda, oh, it's just good to look at. It's just, this wood combo is great, and it's a big ass board. I really like to play around on the 156 more than I would this 62. But there you have it.